Hello, my name is Helen. I am going to take you through a core workout. We are going to work with the abs, the lower back, the side waist, and the bum, and the side of the bum. So we're working, the full core. Pretty much the core is anything that's not your arms and legs. It's all body weight only. Everything apart from the last two bits is going to be 1 minute each exercise, and there's no rest. So if you need to take a rest, you just take a rest. I'll always tell you where I'm hoping for you to feel it. If you start feeling it somewhere else, again, just take a break, come back in, trying to focus on the area, and take regressions or progressions where needed. And if you ever feel any kind of pain, do stop. Don't push through pain. Just going to start lying on our backs, please. So lie down and just like a little warm up for the abs, just going to pelvic tilt. So it's like arching your back away from the floor and then tilting the pelvis under. So it's a little arch, almost like stretching out your belly, and then bring your hip bones towards your ribs. The pelvic tilt is a really nice way to just like gently warm up the abs. But also it's what we're aiming to do in a lot of these exercises is to be in a pelvic tilt. So tilting the hips towards us and bringing the ribs down towards the hips. So it's that's how you get that contract, that bracing through your core, through your abs. So yeah, just a way to start gently, and it's going to ramp up from here. Every time you ramp up, if you're like, whoa, that's too much, scale back down to one. So we'll see similar exercises are repeated, but ramped up, and then you can choose if you want to scale back again. Keeping your feet flat down the ground, just push your feet down, get the pelvic tilt, and then squeeze your bum, lift your hips up, and then lower your hips down. Keep the pelvic tilt now. So you lift the hips up and down. So we don't need to undo at the bottom. We're just keeping the pelvis tucked under, and then squeeze the bum as you lift and lower. Trying to squeeze both butt cheeks evenly. Again, these first couple of exercises we treat more like a warm-up, so it's not necessary that you're going to get a huge challenge or huge burning sensation. If you are, however, feeling this in your lower back, don't lift as high. So even just pushing the feet hard down on the ground and squeeze the butt cheeks together will work the bum. Sometimes when we lift high, it's where you feel your lower back. So do not worry about how high you lift. Right, we're going to dead bug. So it's knees over the hips and hands over the shoulders. And then, in my fleece. And then you're going to drop your left toe towards the floor, your right arm overhead, and then reset. And then switch alternating sides. Now, we're hoping to keep that pelvic tilt. What's trying to happen is your arms and legs move away. It's trying to arch your body. So you're trying to resist it. Bring your hip bones towards your ribs towards your hips. If you need to make it a little bit easier, tap closer to your bum. Easier still is both feet on the floor and go for an alternate knee lift instead. And if you want to make it more challenging, tap a little bit further away from your bum. You do not need to go to a straight leg just yet, just thinking about feeling. Maybe your hips will work a little bit here as well. Feeling your abs start to really switch on and really controlling what's happening with the spine. Trying to keep it close to the floor and not much movement at all. Perfect. Just roll over onto one side. Bend your bottom knee for stability. Squeeze the back of your bum, and you're just going to lift the leg up and then lower it down. So we're squeezing the side of the bum to lift the leg up. This is one of those ones that we're going to see a harder variation, and this is a variation you can come back to. The biggest thing I see when people do this is they bring the leg forward, point the toes up, and look how high I'm able to lift my leg. If you're getting your leg all the way up here, the chances are you're going to take the leg back slightly. Oh, got a good hip click there. And you're not squeezing the back of your bum. And then you'll start here, you're working the front of the hip flexor, and here we're working the side of the hip and the back of the bum. So yeah, it's not that you're not able to lift it too high. If you are, just take the leg back a little bit more. And maybe even think about angling the toes downwards so you don't encourage the hip to open like this. Perfect. Lie on your back again. Tuck your chin in. And you can either support your head in your hands or hands on opposite shoulders or hands on the legs. I'm just going to curl up and lower back down. Curl it up and lower to the ground. So the crunch isn't a full sit up. A full sit is when you sit up all the way. A crunch is just really targeting the upper part of the abs. That is squeezing to lift up a little bit. And we're trying to control back down. It's such a small movement. You'll see how much my shoulders barely come away from the floor. And if you need less, it's even smaller. If you find your head does get a bit heavy, yes, support your head lightly with your hands or your fingertips. And again, I like to put my hands on opposite shoulders because it helps to weigh me down a little bit, make it a little bit harder. But I do also like to come here to see if it can encourage me to reach a little bit further. So really choose what suits you best. We need to do a little bit of a breakdancing move and coming over to the other side. You can't just roll on the other side and face away from me. Bend your bottom leg. Squeeze the back of the bum to take the leg slightly back, and then it's lifting the leg up and down. Maybe point the toes slightly down towards the floor to encourage the hip not to roll open. And working the side of the bum and slightly the back of the bum. Just see my belly's all out. Sorry guys, don't need to see that. Na 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 na. I love anything side glute related. I don't know what it is. Even though we're just doing our body weight right now, I can still really feel this working. And it's a muscle for me that tends to get a little bit lazy. And we just got to do it. It's good to do. Perfect. Lying on your back again. Right foot on the floor, left knee over hip. Tuck your pelvis under and then see if you can lift your hips off. And then lower back down and then repeat. So we're moving into a single leg hip bridges. So that's going to work your bum a little bit harder. Now you've got a couple of options. If you can't lift off, don't again. Just push, squeeze your bum, and maybe your bum doesn't lift off the ground. If you're finding actually that's just too much, just tap your left toe down. And then it can just slightly assist, but you're wanting most of the weight to be on your right leg. Another option, if you're finding it's too much and consecutively all on one leg, you can do alternating legs. And then when we go to the other side, you continue alternating. This is a nice teller as well, just to find out if you've got one side stronger than the other. Usually my left side's my weak side. Lately my right side's gone lazier. Just switch your legs. If you're alternating, continue alternating. Near hip if you can, tuck your pelvis under and then lift and lower. It's fine to do this with the leg extended. What you'll tend to notice is you're having to work a little bit more of your abs. You're going to work your hips and your front thigh a little bit more. When we bend the knee, there's more of the weight over the bum, so it's going to make it a little bit harder. Harder in a different way. Harder on the bum, not so hard on the quads and hips. Already halfway. And single leg work is also so important to do. Single side work, working one side then the other, because we tend to be quite imbalanced. So it's good to just make sure everything is as close as we can to level to one another. And it may be way off. Then it's just informative. It's information, so we're like, wow, that side's not as strong as the other side. Perfect. Right, you're going to line your side here. This time bring a forearm underneath. So your bottom knee is down, and you're going to lift your hip up and then lower your hip down towards the ground, lifting your hip up and lower down towards the ground. This works into, obviously your shoulders are stabilizing, but then this outside of the leg, side of the hip, side of the waist. If you're finding, well, this feels okay, I want a little bit more, extend your bottom leg as well, and then do a full side plank position, hips lowering down and lifting off. You can keep your feet stacked, or if you want to make it a little bit easier, stagger, top leg comes in front. Or you've still got that option to work from your knee. Perfect. Line your fronts. Press your feet into one another. Tuck your chin down here and squeeze your right body to lift your chest away from the ground and then lower it back down again. Squeeze the whole of your back body. So we can, pressing your feet into one another. So you're a little squeezing in your thighs. You're squeezing your bum cheeks towards the middle. And then squeezing your lower and mid back. If you want to make this easier, lightly tap your fingertips down and don't come up as high. If you want to make it harder, reach your arms forwards. And it doesn't have to be all or nothing. It doesn't have to be like you can have your hands, oh, I didn't realize I was completely off the screen. So they can be fully outstretched or just a little bit further forward if you're kind of in betweeny. And check, like mine just did, if your feet have fallen away. See if you can press them into one another again. Nice side plank hip dip on the other side. Get the forearm underneath, bottom knees down, lifting the hips away from the ground, lowering back down. It's again a nice way to see how one side compares to the other. What you may have noticed, by the way, is my pace. I would love if you can keep a pace like this, so it's quite slow, it's quite squeezy, it's quite in control, rather than just up, down, up, down, up, down. You're in total control of how your body's moving. You place your hips down, you squeeze your hips up. Optionally in a halfway if you want to advance onto the toes. There's loads of ways of making the exercise harder, and sometimes slowing it down, getting rid of momentum is actually the harder option. Even if you're doing fewer reps, you're in total control of those reps, and it's hard to be keeping it slow in control. Nice. Plank hold, please. So that can be on your forearms, you can be on your hands, you can be on your knees or on your toes. What I would like in your plank is, you know, we do that pelvic tilt on our backs, same thing here. So what you'll notice is it will start to want to do this and arch away, and you're going to try to tuck your hips under. And I would rather your hips were too high, but your tailbone is tucked, then your hips are too low, and you've arched into the back. You're halfway if you're thinking, actually, I'm finding this okay on my knees. I want to advance onto my toes, then please do. But wherever you are, with your forearms, think about digging them down and pulling the ground towards you. So that's going to help you get into this pelvic tilt position again, rather than just letting the arms be there. Really actively pull everything in. Got another 5 seconds. Perfect. Side plank hip dip again. This time we're going to also lift the top leg. So we're combining first 2 exercises together that we did on the side. So you're going to lift your leg as you lift your hips. So simultaneously driving the hips up and lifting your leg. And again, this is where you're going to find this leg is going to want to not really lift, or it's going to relax and dumb down. So you're trying to get everything squeezing and lifting, lowering, tapping down. Same option applies. If you're wanting to advance this, you're up on the toes, you lift your hips and simultaneously lift the leg, tap the hip back down, lower the leg back down with control, lifting and lowering everything together. And if you do find your shoulder is burning quite a lot, it is normal. You're taking a lot of weight on your shoulder at the moment. But do take a rest if it gets too much. Perfect. Coming to plank. Again, you can be on your forearms or on your hands, completely up to you, knees or toes. But we're going to tuck your pelvis under and then lift one leg off, bend the knee and just pulse for 3, 2, 1. Place it down, switch sides. Bend the knee, lift. 3, 2, 1. So if you want to make this easier, you scoot your knees in underneath the hips. 3, 2, 1. Place down. And your back, as soon as you lift one leg off, that's where it's going to try and go, vroom, and you're trying to go, vroom, zipping underneath. You've got the same option again, please, if you want, is to lift onto the toes. If you're ready to advance and make it a little bit harder. Don't know why I went and put my hands on this one. Could be on forearms still. So squeeze the bum, working the abs and the obliques because you're doing one side at a time. Go to other side plank. So roll over other side plank, hip dip. That was clever, close even. Clever, lol, with a leg lift. So you lift your hips as you lift your leg and lower back down, controlling as best as we can. How's everything feeling? I'm hoping everything's just feeling quite worked. We've been moving quite slowly, quite controlled, but everything getting a little bit fatigued. Halfway if you want to, if you haven't yet tried on the toes, maybe try the toes as you lift and lower. God, it's hard. I'm working with an injury at the moment, so this is actually one of my physio exercises. And oh, you can tell this side is weaker than my other side. It's just my current injury side. Nice. Line your back. Back to the crunches. So crunch up, hold there, come up a little bit higher, down just to where you were. Up high and then low. So try to stay in the top few inches of this movement. The temptation is going to come all the way down, all the way up, because gravity is going to try and pull you, and the idea is our abs are working against gravity. Keep your shoulders up. Stay in that. If you're quite low and you're here and you're still, that's your maximum squeeze, perfect. If you would like more, first of all, check if you've come closer to the floor, and if you have, try and just crouch higher. If not, option is to lift your knees off away from the floor as well. An option for more still is to extend your legs. And you can drop your legs lower, but yeah, we want to feel abs, not back. Got another 10 seconds to go, and then we're so nearly totally done. I could use really taking my jumper off now. Oof. Perfect. Ab stretch. What? Huh? What? This is not the end. Oh, bum. Right, do you know what? This is going to look funny, but just follow me and ignore ignore the thing. Oh, where am I? Ah, yeah. Okay, right, we're going to do 100 abs. So grab onto your thighs, curl up, reach your arms, you're going to pump your arms up and down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up and down. It's only 30 seconds. Only 30 seconds. If you need less, tap your toes down towards the floor. Same thing if you want more, extend your legs forwards. But every time you pump your arms, your abs are going to have to work to stabilize. So you've got another, I'm going to stick with these times because they're correct. You have 3, 2, 1, and then bring the upper body down. Press your hands to your side. You're going to lower legs towards the floor and then lift them back up again. Lower your legs towards the floor and then lift them back up. So this is the final bit where I said everything's 1 minute apart from the final 2 minutes. So we've got 30 seconds, we're just going to repeat this twice. If you need less, please don't go as far or bend your knees, but do not wedge your hand under your bum. I do not care if your knees are so bent, you do one leg at a time, but just make sure you're working your core, holding it in place. Back to 100 abs. Use your thighs to curl up, find your crunch, and then hold the crunch high, release your arms, pump. This is the final 60 seconds of effort. And then watch out if your arms are getting a little bit floppy. See if you lock out right to the fingers. Got another 10 seconds to go. Then one more round of leg raises. And then we're genuinely going to stretch. Not just maybe like ab stretch. And then lengthen the legs again. And then lower legs towards the floor. And then lift back up again. Lower. It's so funny. I've just filmed another video just not long before this. And I was saying how much I always seem to make one error. Here's my error. So how long and how low can you go without wedging your hands underneath, but where you feel it on your abs or even thighs, hips, but not your back? One more. Yes, and then land. Here's 100 abs. Now just arch your back away from the floor. Feel a stretch in your abs. Ignore the writing and listen to my voice. Listen to my voice. And hug it in towards your body, release your lower back. So just going to have a little tiny stretch to finish. Then totally done. Drop your left foot to the floor, cross your right ankle over, open the knee, and if you've got a good enough stretch here, you just stay here, or reach and try and grab hold of the left thigh. And as you do, you're pulling that leg towards you just as you can. Just even keep your head and your shoulders relaxed. Look at it doing these leg raises now. Oi. What I love about this switch legs, right leg down, left leg across, open over the knee, and then if you need to or want more, you hold onto the back of the right thigh. I don't know how to do things like add these timers, I don't know how to do that. So I love that what's it called? This website lets me do that. It's me that makes the mistakes. Like, it's me that makes it be like, oh, I added too much rest. Oh, I moved it into the wrong place. Oh, I need someone to go over my stuff. Alright, so then just rock yourself up, roll over into all fours, and move in a way that feels good. So you can do some cat-cows if you're stretching out your abs, stretching out your lower back, or maybe a little bit bending side to side. Feel the side waist stretch. And maybe we're just moving in any kind of way that feels good. Oh, yeah, yes. Well, I worked hard. Hopefully you did too. Hopefully you enjoyed. Any questions or feedback other than the fact that it's like, Helen, please do try and sort out your, check your stuff before you put it out there. Do get in touch. I'd love to know how you get on. I'd love to know if you found you had one side stronger or weaker than the other as well. Love hearing from you. But yes, thank you very much. And hopefully see you for another one without mistakes soon.